I know that to accomplish this, it will mean I have to forge throughout discomfort, anxiety, doubt, and fears or failure. However, if I don't try, I'll never know if I would have succeeded, and I am certain that depression will continue, worsen and or destroy me. I will walk through this pain. I will return.
Wow. Hi, welcome to the Gray Area. I am Brandon,
And
and
I am Jenelle.
today we've decided to get together to discuss all things basically mental health, um, whether it involves mental health and physical health. Um, but yeah, Janelle kind of pushed me on this course of doing a little podcast style thing. Um, I'll start with a little bit about me without getting too lengthy. Um, I I tie into the whole mental health thing because I've suffered through depression for quite some time since I was a child, and recently, kind of out of nowhere, I decided to start what is called the carnivore diet. And if you know, then you know. But basically, it helps. I don't want to say fix, but navigate my mental health. So the depression went away, amongst a bunch of other things. And I'm pretty sure we could touch on that a little bit later as well. But what brings you here, Jenna? Explain.
Well, hello everyone. My name is Jenelle, and like Brandon, um, I've been suffering from some mental health issues lately. Mine started. I've always struggled with mental health because you know, been diagnosed with bipolar disorder and OCD disorder, and a couple of other things with anxiety and depression. But what really brought it out was when my mom passed away, and I guess I was trying to deal with the grief, but I don't know. I guess I didn't deal with it the way I should have been dealing with it, or I don't know. You know, I still struggle with why it happened. Like I don't know. Like I just struggle with it, and why now? I isolated myself. Um, my first day of isolation, and I will never forget this date. Was November the 26th, 2023. I had an outer body experience where um, I had to get up for work, and I couldn't. Like my body would not move. I had like this anxiety, and I had like this panic attack at the same time, and like I couldn't move, but I was looking at myself not being able to move. It was like so weird. Like it was like the weirdest experience I ever felt in my life. Um and my speaking with my therapist and stuff, it does happen when you have anxiety. And so that's how it started with me. And I isolated myself for I isolated myself for 6 months. Like I wouldn't leave my house. And then my my psychiatrist and my primary care doctor was like, yeah, that's not good. And like they introduced me to like other therapists. Like I was seeing other therapists. Oops, sorry. I was seeing other therapists, but like I don't know, they weren't jiving for me. And so I felt like I was wasting my time. And so I just didn't, I just didn't go. Really, I wasn't taking my therapy seriously. And then my primary care doctor was like, no, I need to get you out the house, because I think she could see in my face that I was having like sleepless nights. Like I wouldn't even be able to sleep. Like I would be up for 4 straight days. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
I would be up for like 4 straight days. And so um yeah, it was crazy. So I finally agreed to do in-person therapy, and that was like the best thing for me. To do in-person therapy, and I actually found a therapist that um is working for me. We've discussed this before, that like sometimes your first therapist may not be the right therapist for you, and it's okay to change your therapist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, I did. I did a little bit of therapy once the depression. And we'll touch on this later as well. With my marriage, um, once it started affecting it, it basically got to the point where my wife was like, "Look, if you don't try to help yourself, then you're just showing that you don't want to help us. If
Right.
you don't care about you, then you know." So I opted to reach out and talk to a therapist, and I talked to a therapist for I had a few sessions,
Oh, there it
um,
goes.
and she did help me out a lot. I think I had three or four sessions with her, and she sent me a lot of good information about like cognitive distortions. And what's funny is I started looking through a lot of stuff she sent me, and I was reading through it, and I started noticing stuff in other people. Um, but yeah, it was a big help because it kind of helps you. Like you said before when we were talking, um, that it kind of helps you self analyze yourself a little bit, kind of step back and look at yourself and say, oh, okay. But at the time, I was still very depressed, and that's very hard to do in that state of mind, even though you're talking to somebody. But yeah, I remember talking with her. She ended up not being the right one. Um, but yeah,
And it's okay that you don't find it. Like, even the therapist that I have right now, like, she was like, it's okay for a patient to say, yeah, like, I need to find another therapist. Like, is there another one that I can probably speak to? Because it's really a waste of. So I had to learn this word, safe, or these two words, safe place. So if you're not in a position where you feel safe, or where you're at, like the place that you're at, the situation that you're in is not a safe situation, then step away from the situation. In other words, like, we we can control we only know what makes us feel safe, right? And so I had to understand that, even with family members, it's okay for you to feel unsafe with a family member, um and or friend. Like, if in other words, if that person ain't good for you, it's okay. Like, that person, you don't feel safe enough to have a conversation. Like, I can say, Brandon, you are a safe place for me, because I'm comfortable enough to disclose what I wouldn't be comfortable enough to disclose with other people, especially now. I learned in therapy that everyone is not your friend. And to be honest with you, people want to listen to your pain to make themselves feel good.
yeah,
And so, um, because people want to make fun of the fact that you may not be mentally stable. And so I learned that it's okay to walk away from unhealthy, unsafe people and situations. And I want to say, like, unsafe, not in a, like, you're scared of that person, but unsafe because we put up these guards, right? And a lot of the times that's what we play off of, you know.
Yeah.
And so I had to really figure out that there's a lot of things that are unsafe for me. You and I, you know, you and I had a conversation on my way to therapy. You and I spoke after therapy. And so uh that's because you're safe for me. And so, you know, I legit okay, I'm gonna tell you a funny thing. So I was going to therapy, and this is when I first started therapy early, and I had a cousin call me and talk to me about something. And I said, hey, I can't talk, like she was like blowing up my phone. And normally there's certain people that I don't want to speak to prior to me going into therapy, only because I want to go into therapy with a clear head. So she kept calling me and calling me and calling me. And finally I answered, and I'm like, like, what's the fire? Like, where's the fire? I hope something's burning. And she starts to talk to me. So for anyone that doesn't, for everyone that doesn't know, I still have my mom's ashes. My mom's wishes was for her ashes to be buried where her brother, my grandmother, and my grandfather are buried. Because my mom is cremated, she's allowed to be there. And so this cousin decided to, and her intentions were great. Don't get me wrong. Like, I appreciate her intentions. Her intentions was to find out information on how much and how to get my mom's ashes buried where she wants to be buried, right? However, she was like blowing me up, and I knew I had therapy. So I said, you know what? Let me just answer the phone. And I answered the phone, and she starts asking questions, and it's family related. And I said, well, that's not true because of whatever XY reasons. And she's like, no, but like, she was really, and I said, listen, I don't want to talk about that right now. I'm legit about to walk out the house to go to therapy. And I like to go with my agenda, with a clear mind of what I just want to talk about, whatever. And so I don't want to go there depressed or anything, because I'm already depressed, right?
Yeah.
And she kept on, and then try to flip it on me, and then try to like, well, I was only trying to help, and like making it seem like I wasn't grateful, but I was very grateful. And like I said, I told her I do appreciate, and I know her intentions, but when I say I don't want to talk about something, like, I mean, I don't want to talk about it. You know what I mean? And, she'll say like, your mom's dead, my mom's dead. She mentions my grandma's dead and all this other stuff, and her dog's dead. And so I don't mean to laugh about that, but
No, yeah, that's 100% true. It's funny that you say that too, because you mentioned good intentions.
but I'm just kind of like, girl, I love you, but what does that have to do with the fact that I told you I didn't want to speak about it? Because, so if I tell you I don't want to talk about that right now because I'm actually on my way to therapy. If you tell me, Jenelle, this is a topic I don't want to talk about, we move on. I'm not going to press the issue, right? Because I want to be that person that is safe for someone. So when she flipped the switch and turned it, like, I'm like, so I didn't speak to her for a couple of days because I was kind of pissed about it. You know what I mean?
Uh-huh.
Like you overstepped, girl.